January 2021. Phil Harrison, the man running Google Stadia, sends an email to his internal game development studio. He writes that the team has made great progress. He praises the lineup of exclusive titles they are building. His tone is warm and forward-looking. 1 week later, he shuts the studio down. Welcome to the final save. Google had the infrastructure, the money, and a proof of concept that actually worked. What it did not have was the willingness to do the one thing the games industry requires above everything else: wait. October 1st, 2018, Google announces Project Stream, a public beta that streams Assassin's Creed Odyssey through a standard Chrome tab. No app to install. No dedicated hardware. A 25 megabit connection and a browser. The test runs for 4 months, limited to the United States. More than 100,000 testers participate. They log 1.2 million hours of play. Performance is close to an Xbox One X. For Google, this is the proof of concept that changes everything. A major third-party title streaming at acceptable fidelity through a browser. If this is possible, the thinking goes, nothing stops them from building a platform around it. March 19, 2019. Google CEO Sundar Pichai takes the stage at the Game Developers Conference, the first time Google has made a major gaming announcement there. He hands off to Phil Harrison. Harrison had served as president of Sony's worldwide studios. He had held senior roles at Microsoft. Google brought him over in 2018 specifically to build this. Stadia is his project. On this stage, it sounds like the future. The pitch: one platform, any screen, no hardware required. 4K at 60 frames per second. HDR. Surround sound, 8K at 120 frames per second eventually. Cloud features no console could offer. State Share, which packages an exact game state into a shareable URL. Crowdplay, which lets YouTube viewers jump into a streamer's live session. Stream Connect, which displays teammates' camera feeds inside the game itself. A live demo switches from a laptop to a phone to a television with no interruption. The crowd applauds. Nobody in the room asks about exclusives. June 6, 2019. Stadia Connect fills in the pricing. Stadia Pro, $9.99 a month, a rotating library of free games, 4K streaming. A free tier, initially called Stadia Base, will follow later. Buy a game once, play it without a subscription. The Founders Edition hardware bundle is $129 in the US and £120 in the UK. It includes a Night Blue controller, a Chromecast Ultra, 3 months of Pro, and the Buddy Pass for a friend. Launch window, November 2019. Available in 14 countries. August 2019. The launch roster is revealed. 12 games including Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Mortal Kombat 11, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Google promises 14 more titles before year-end. The lineup is thin but prestigious. The first-party exclusives. The games that Jade Raymond's new internal studio was building. The titles that would give someone a reason to choose Stadia over an existing platform are not announced. No release window. No names. The question is not pressed hard enough to require an answer. November 19, 2019. Stadia ships to Founders Edition buyers, 12 games available. What is not available: the achievement system, Crowdplay, State Share, Stream Connect, the Buddy Pass, family sharing and wireless controller support on mobile or PC. 4K streaming only works through Chromecast Ultra. It does not work in a browser, which is where Google had demonstrated it working at GDC. Every marquee feature from the March announcement is absent from the product people paid $129 to own in November. Kotaku publishes its verdict: Google Stadia just ain't it. The rest of the industry lands in roughly the same place. 8 months between announcement and launch, and the features that defined the announcement were not there. The months that follow confirm what launch implied. Monthly active users hover in the hundreds of thousands, well below Google's internal targets. Third-party developers find the platform difficult to port to and the user base too small to justify the work. Google starts paying publishers to show up. A deal with Ubisoft covering Assassin's Creed and The Division reportedly costs approximately $20 million, not for exclusivity, just to get the games on the platform at all. According to Bloomberg and Kotaku reporting, Google spent tens of millions per title on these arrangements. April 2020. COVID-19 lockdowns begin. Google opens Stadia Pro to any Gmail account holder free for 2 months across 14 countries. 9 games are included: Grid, Destiny 2, Thumper, and others. The platform sees the largest user surge of its existence. Most of those users do not return. Late 2020. The free tier quietly launches. Buy a game, own it, no subscription required. The pricing structure has changed. The library has not. Stadia is now available in 22 countries. It still does not have a single game that exists only on Stadia. February 1, 2021. Phil Harrison sends an email to the staff of Stadia Games and Entertainment, the internal studio Google had spent 2 years building. Jade Raymond had left her position at EA. She had founded EA Motive to come to Google and build this team. She recruited developers. She established the studio's Montreal presence. Her team had multiple titles in active production. Harrison's email is warm. He says the team has made great progress. He praises the lineup of exclusive games. Several employees would later describe receiving it as blindsiding. February 10, 2021. 9 days later, Google closes Stadia Games and Entertainment. Jade Raymond leaves Google. Hundreds of developers are displaced. Every game in development is canceled, including at least one title that had a confirmed ship date of November 1st. One developer told the press afterward, "We have a title coming out November 1st. The game never shipped." Harrison posts the explanation publicly. Creating best-in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investment, and the cost is going up exponentially. In a subsequent Q&A with staff, he acknowledges that Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda Software influenced the decision. Google weighed whether it could compete on first-party content. It decided not to try. May 2021. 6 senior Stadia executives leave Google to follow Jade Raymond to Haven Entertainment, a Sony-backed studio she founded in Montreal. Among them, Sebastian Puel, Stadia Games General Manager, Corey May, Head of Creative Services, and Jonathan Dankoff, UX Research Director. For anyone reading the personnel reports, this is not a wave of departures. It is a verdict. Early 2022. Internal reports confirm what observers have suspected. Stadia is deprioritized. A Bloomberg report in February reveals that approximately 80% of engineering effort has shifted off the consumer platform. The technology is being repackaged as a white label product, internally called Google Stream, later branded Immersive Stream for games, and licensed to other companies. AT&T is already using Stadia infrastructure to stream Batman Arkham Knight. Peloton is running a cycling game called Lane Break on the platform. The consumer gaming service is becoming a B2B deal. Google announces over 100 games coming to Stadia in 2022. This is positioned as a commitment to the platform. The list is populated almost entirely by third-party ports. The total Stadia library at shutdown would reach just shy of 300 games. Not one would be a Stadia exclusive. The service would end without producing a single first-party release across its entire 3-year run. September 29, 2022. At 9 a.m. Pacific Time, Phil Harrison posts on the Google blog. The post is brief. While Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected, so we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. Stadia employees learn about the shutdown in a meeting called minutes before the post is published. The following day, all 570 videos on Stadia's official YouTube channel, 87 million cumulative views, are set to private. The social accounts go dark. The shutdown is part of a company-wide cost reduction. Alphabet stock had fallen 34% in 2022. CEO Sundar Pichai had announced a target to make Google 20% more efficient. The Pixelbook laptop is canceled the same week. Google processes refunds automatically. All hardware, game purchases, DLC, and subscription fees bought through the Stadia store. Refund processing begins November 9, 2022. Players keep game access through the shutdown date. January 18, 2023. Stadia goes offline at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time. Every game, every player ever purchased becomes permanently inaccessible. Google releases a firmware tool to unlock Bluetooth on Stadia controllers, converting them to generic gamepads. The tool eventually goes offline too. A community developer preserved a version of it on GitHub. Even the shutdown was left half-finished. Phil Harrison leaves Google in early 2023. He had arrived in 2018, built the platform, ordered the studio closure, written the shutdown announcement, and held the role through every decision that mattered. The underlying technology did not die with Stadia. Immersive Stream for games operates as a business licensing product. Harrison said so in the shutdown post. The tech would find applications in YouTube, Google Play, augmented reality. He was not wrong about that. The infrastructure was real. The platform was not. What Google spent on Stadia has never been fully disclosed. The deals to put third-party games on the service reportedly ran to tens of millions of dollars per title. And survey data found that only 3% of people who tried the service came back a second time. Google promised 8K gaming at 120 frames per second. It promised stage share in crowd play and Stream Connect. It told a studio full of developers 1 week before closing that studio that they were doing great work. Then it shut the lights off. An anonymous industry figure said it plainly after the service went dark. It should serve as a lesson in how not to do business. The servers went offline January 18, 2023. If you know a game that deserves this kind of autopsy, put the title in the comments.